Ba da 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 da. Whoa! Clean feed me. 15 minutes for the losers bracket between Nope and ING. What's up? Oh man, we're about to get the pick ban phase for. We're about to get the pick ban phase for Nope versus ING. So I have it up for you just now. And let me just whew, do my intro as well. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Azakai here. I'm going to be bringing to you the 9th day of the knockout stage for the Asia Division tournament. Right now, we have the losers bracket with NOP versus ING, and I think this is kind of a rematch if I'm not entirely wrong. So we got a ban on Hidden City, a ban on Harbor City. I bet they're going to go for Heilong Fjord in this case. Heilong Fjord is definitely going to be the pick out for ING. Linwu Fortress out for Nope. That's very surprising. Yeah. Nope. If you're going to go out with your cavalry strategy again, I'm going to wonder what you were thinking the first time, and definitely what you're thinking the second time. So, with the maps picked out, Linwood Fortress, it's not really a cavalry map. I would definitely think that Nope has definitely learned their lesson. They can't just go throwing cavalry at just anyone at this point. So, probably could do it on Highland Ford a second time. Probably not the smartest thing to do. Metalator ban and a Fort Brasho ban. That is very surprising. We have a Samachian Stalwart and a Myrmidolones ban from ING. So that is those are all very interesting ones. Fort Brasho Pikeman, one of the only units that can stop a Winged Hussar wholesale, basically no losses. Metallators, they're very useful, very powerful range unit. Not entirely a go-to unit. A safe pick on the Zycalian militia. That is quite interesting. That means they want the Zycalian militia to be available to win those infantry battles. But considering that both of the shield, but two of the three shield units, that the last one being shield maidens, I would have to wonder whether or not it is actually worth having the Zycalian militia to be available. Maybe an all-range pick ban. A Chevalier ban and goes for the Winged Hussars. Oh man. It's very surprising that they would go for the Chevalier ban, but keep a safe pick for the Winged Hussars. I would actually have banned Medals in this case. If you take out Medals and Fraud Brascio, Halberdiers are not actually that good at stopping cavalry, although they are quite tough to deal with for cavalry since they do take a massive, they have a massive damage reduction for the first cavalry charge that hits them. ING still has one last band left, so we'll have to see. Well, I mean, in this case, Nope is going to have a much harder time on Linwee Fortress since we're considering that ING is going to use Ball Boys at the very least, and on Linwee Fortress with tighter corridors. The Ball Boys are probably better than the Flamers, especially for defending side because top down can get some really cool stuff. But nevertheless, like either way, there's no ban coming up from ING. So I mean, that's actually kind of strange, to say the least. I want to also point out that they still haven't fixed the Winged Hussar image. Oh man, it's probably linked to um some kind of thing. I'm gonna have to question what kind of strategy Nope is going for because they did choose the safe pick on a Winged Hussar. So are they going to throw Winged Hussars at ING again? Are they just going to throw cavalry at ING again? Because it's an interesting setup. It's an interesting setup, and I do think it has a lot of merit. You throw a Winged Hussar in, it breaks down the pike units, and I mean, again, besides Medal's right now, everything else would just roll over. A one Winged Hussar charge would just basically put everything on its ass. You could then follow up with Leals that would just murder everything. Though there is a massive gap. I keep kind of like again, there's a big difference between CBL and the meta in Siege, where a lot of units, expect particularly some of the overperforming units, kind of rely on that doctrine setup. That the doctrines are very powerful, very, very, very powerful, and I think cavalry as well is kind of like one of the things that I overestimate just because of how difficult it is to kill them in a in the siege setting. That 50% damage reduction for while charging is probably one of my most hated doctrines to deal with because when they take 50% less damage, they're twice as hard they're twice as hard to deal with. And there's not very many things that can really kill a unit that has 50% damage reduction. You kind of need insane amounts of damage, or again. So hopefully we get a good battle coming out from Nope and ING. It is a rematch in the losers bracket, so ING definitely gonna put my I'm definitely gonna put my bet on ING to win again. I don't think Nope has really had enough time or has like shown any signs of improvement. I mean, I think the last time I watched them, they weren't very. I really can't remember the last time I watched them. Or maybe the last time I watched them was ING versus Nope. I did skip a couple of their battles. I did skip a couple of battles. Alrighty. From what I understand, I believe Nope is a Japanese house. I could be wrong about that. I'm pretty sure someone will correct me. I what 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 is this? What is this joke? So for some reason, on Google Chrome, I'm looking at this through Google Chrome. Winged Hussar image is broken, but I just flipped over to the live. This is 3 minutes actually behind. This is not live. I just switched over to the clean feed, and the dumbass actually have the Winged Hussar's image there. So what's up, man? What's up? What the hell is up with technical issues on my end? So I'm not sure. I mean, I get some random technical issues, something that are just special for me. So I'm just really sad when it's just like, oh, it's working as intended, and I'm just like, no, it's not. And I'm probably just like the only guy that's just like, oh, the Winged Hussar thing's broken, and everyone else is like, ah, you're talking crack, man. All right, Obi-Wan Kenobi confirms that the NOP is the Japanese team. Apparently, USA is actually part of it. Is USA actually playing? Because he's also a streamer or a content creator at the very least. I didn't see if he was streaming. All right. In the meantime, I'm going to start eating. So bear with me. I'm going to mute myself. Hopefully, I remember to unmute myself. Usa is handing the information to the enemy. Let me see if he's actually online. Be pretty funny if he is. There's Guan Yu. There's me. Okay, so he's not streaming right now, so would have been funny if he was. Nevertheless, we've still got about 3 minutes before the official start, and I'm gonna hope it's gonna be an entertaining battle. I never like boring battles, but again, we're here to see the best of the best. Hopefully, we get to see the best of the best. But unfortunately, still, we've got no competition for CNC. CNC has just been wiping the floor with everyone, and as of yet, no one seems to be able to hold a candle to them. No one's been able to get a match off in a while as well. So I really hope that CNC gets a little bit of a challenge here. I'm enjoying Domino's. Ah, yes, Domino's pizza. Probably the most expensive pizza for the most trashiest taste ever. I don't know, man. Like that's out of like fast food pizzas, you only actually go for Domino's. There's no Pizza Hut here. And I mean, they're locals, but who goes to locals? They don't do delivery. Well, unless they do Uber Eats, then they'll do delivery. Well, Uber Eats do delivery, then. Holy cow, that mic. Okay, I was just listening to the official. I was just watching the Conqueror's Blade devs, and that mic. Oh my god, that popping like crazy. Popping like crazy. Suits the taste of the game for pizza sounds is totally fucked up. Yeah. Well, at least mine isn't. Well, then again, it's just me, myself, and I. Alright, I'm gonna eat my food before it starts getting cold. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get interrupted a lot in this, so. By the way, what I'm eating is a mixture of a fish, um, a salty fish soup with instant noodles. So basically, there was leftover salty fish soup. Though it has fish in it, of course. It also has pork. Um, I just chucked that into the pot with instant noodles, added a bit extra water, boiled that for a while. If you're wondering what I'm eating, that's what I'm eating. Oh my god! When I was logging in today for Conqueror's Blade, the snow. Normally, CB only takes around about 40% of my GPU. The snow effect added 20%. I was up to no, added 30%. All like the snow stimulation sent me from like my average of 40 for CB all the way up to 70. My fan started going crazy while the snow was out. While I was sitting in No Man's Town. Like once I was in battle, it went down to like 50, but my goodness, that snow effect is super taxing. Happy New Year's to you, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I would be pleased if it would just take more of my GPU power, but I am constantly like in 50-ish on support is shit. Yeah, I'll be honest as well. Their customer support is pretty shit. I can definitely tell they automated probably a bit too much. Oh my goodness. Yeah, yeah. I'm also listening. I'm also listening intermediately. Sometimes I turn it on. Sometimes I turn it off. Brett's mic is actually out like crazy, so um, I'm surprised that they don't do a sound test. Like, I don't do a sound test, but especially for like non-fixed mics, the ones that you wear on your shirt and stuff, those are really annoying to get right because if you don't get those right, those things are very difficult to fix on air. Like the struggle I watch with people trying to fix mics on air, man, gives me anxiety. Also, why would why why don't you just come watch me just because I'm just a better commentator? I mean, like I love Brett and I love Morgan. Morgan doesn't actually play the game, unfortunately, so um he's definitely got the energy for a caster. It's it's just frankly that um he doesn't understand the game. Well, I think that's a little bit harsh. He is supposed to be the creative director, but what I mean is that like as he's casting it, it feels like he's never played the game, like or he doesn't play the game enough. He probably does play the game seldomly, not compared to like even just casuals. One of the things I always just like keep trying to keep trying to tell people is that the developers don't need to be good at their game, but they at least need to know what the hell it is. Because if you've ever like been in a position where you need to just like tell a lot of information and things. That's good. Oh my god, really? I don't remember that. Like, did Morgan actually struggle with what a siege tower was? decks. Linwy Fortress first. So, nope, versus ING. So, again, I don't know why that we don't get to see the kind of like overview of the map in this case as the observer. Hey, when your customers can sense your level of incompetency, you have problems. I mean, it's good that Nope has decided not to just have a bunch of cavalry, but oh my goodness. ING, are you trolling? Or is this the actual strategy? That is a lot of how it is. I mean, it's a double tier 4 and a tier 3. No tier 5s, in fact. So, this is just a question of whether or not Nope can just blast right through them. If they can't, then they're gonna die. I mean, halberdiers are very efficient. The surprising pick here is the Varangian Guards. I think the Varangian Guards is gonna bite Nope in the ass here. That's true. ING can go 3 waves. Attacking force, only 2. It's a little interesting. Normally the attacking side wants to have more chances, while the defending side wants to kind of just win outright, try not to go for attrition. For a Landweave Fortress, they would normally aim to just crush them. Um, the artillery placement at the front there was kind of interesting. I don't know what they were planning. I mean, as far as strategies go, if I was Nope, I would literally just go Shield Maidens. Every single one used to go Shield Maidens and just Death Ball it, because I'm pretty sure you could. I'm pretty sure against this kind of setup against ING, you could Death Ball it really easily. So trying to use some other things. The Palace Guards is an interesting pick. Palace Guards, again, are more a defensive type unit, and it does look like they're veteran defensively. The Varangian Guards here should not take the front because it's Halberdier central. Once they switch over to axes, they're going to get killed like crazy. The Shield Maidens just need to go in. Once your Shield Maidens start hacking away, they need to just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So, did those ball throws go over? There's ball throwers at the back, but I'm watching some of the ball throws go over, or they're winning. By the way, ING is just like collapsing on that one section, and they're not even. It's not even a contest of who was going to win that, because half of Nope is downstairs, and the other half was caught upstairs. So a frontal attack has never really been a good strategy. If I was Nope right now, after losing that, I would definitely force them off of A point by focusing other places. Go inside, go on the ground. You're not gonna fight. You're not gonna win coming up these stairs at all. These Shield Maidens hyperstack. They're gonna massacre whatever's here at front. Look at those Royal Janissaries just get chopped to pieces. Iron Reapers coming in, or catching maybe 3 or 5 of them on the tail end there. Not particularly great, though. I mean, like, normally the charge is way more powerful, but because they were running, chances of missing. It's going to be, again, like, this is always very difficult. Going downstairs, going upstairs. Both sides are at a disadvantage, and I don't think either side would want to go fight like that. So it's a small recovery, but Nope still lost out very heavily at the beginning. And they're taking the fight here in this corner. Again, going up the stairs, you don't have space. Look how little space these guys have. A nice formation with Palace Guards at the front, Halberdiers just behind. The Halberdiers did probably a massive amounts of damage, but the heroes finally make a breakthrough. Lots of soldiers comes up onto this point. There was Flamers there, but the Flamers probably got knocked down as well. Imperial Pike presses down. This is a very tough battle for Nope. We also have a flank coming out from ING, whatever's left of it anyway. Struggling to gain dominance, but it does look like I think Nope will stabilize here, just barely, here onto the A point. And that's not a good sign because, like, they're mostly facing tier 4s and stuff, but the secondary, oh my goodness, they got shot by their own grape shot that they kind of left behind. And I'm gonna be honest with you, taking the A point under duress like this, the respawn is coming in. Nope cannot hold this point, and they're running out of troops. They're running out of good troops, by the way. So they're probably down to 7, maybe 8 good troops right now. And the Halberdier lines, they're not terrifying enough to be like, oh, nothing can deal with them. But throwing out your Varangian Guards like that, you're going to lose your Varangian Guards. Look, an entire Varangian Guard just gets eaten up by essentially 2 Halberdiers. A Halberdier Sergeant did pop up after that. And that formation of 3 Halberdiers, you can kill a couple of those Halberdiers, but trying to push into that, wowza. Pretty dumb move, pretty dumb move. No, Varangian Guards fell off. One of the things that people probably don't realize is that Varangian Guards, they can't skip to Shatter Shield. Their Shatter Shield is so powerful. To put in perspective, each of the hits from Shatter Shield does 3 times as much block break damage than either of their other 2 skills. That's massive. That's insane. But because of the nerf before, it locked in their playstyle of needing to cycle through the axe skills. So the first two axe skills are actually just not sufficient enough for Varangian Guards to actually do anything. The only time that Varangian Guards will probably be able to be effective is against things that don't deal damage. But unfortunately, we're in a scenario where you only take things that deal damage. There was the Imperial Spear Guard, but there's 2 heavy shield units coming out from Nope right now. Nope basically down to serfs. They got 1 Silidar. That's about the strongest thing they have on the field right now. But there is lines and lines of Halberdiers. Even just tier 3 Halberdiers. That is terrifying. Like, lines and lines of Halberdiers. You never want to see Halberdiers that are not afraid to take shots. Do not forget that these guys have been getting mortared like crazy. I mean, it's good that Nope is using their mortars, trying to gain an advantage, but they've lost the majority of their force already. ING still has probably 3, maybe 5 whole units on top of these 10 that are out right now. And that's the scary part, because of unit counting. They're basically an entire army up. And right now, Nope is going to brute force straight through the Halberdiers. Could be possible as long as those Imperial Spear Guards take the lead. There is another flamethrower unit. There's Bolsack units throwing into that pile. Unfortunately, the massive explosion plus the fire damage from the from those guys just cleared off all of the. Not to mention the ISG finally fell. Axe Raiders in the back. Very difficult to deal with when your units just cannot deal damage. I mean, Axe Raiders, they're not spectacular units, but they're being used here now. Even after that exchange, they probably only took around about 2 units with them. So That's a lot of units left for ING. There's 66. There's 66 tier 4 units still left apparently for Nope. So that's kind of weird since you would think that they would have brought them with that last attack there if they wanted a shot at all. Yeah, maybe. I think the two picks was Forbracios and Matalators. You could probably just forget about the Matalators. Forbracios again, forget about them. Go for go for broke. Get rid of the Siphanarios and the Ball Boys for the first pick because ING went for the safe pick on the Ball Boys because they wanted the Ball Boys, and of course, using them to great effect here. The Ball Boys, um, the recent buff they got at the start of the Scorpio season, actually not bad. Able to throw a lot of balls very quickly. In fact, they had increased ammo. I think they had their speed decreased, but they had increased ammo. So the pressure and area denial from those Ball Boys absolutely underestimated by Nope here. The only thing, the only thing I would have suggested for Nope, take a different route. You see that it's difficult? Go somewhere else. You want to take a fight where you don't have to struggle. You want to, whenever assaulting an area, the more area you have and the smaller the area of the enemy, the better you have it. There's never a scenario where you want to funnel yourself into a bad situation. Never. Supposedly, there would be a situation where flanking or those kinds of deals where you have to take that hard fight in order to put pressure on the backside, but nope, going in from one direction. My goodness. It's like they've never attacked Linwood Fortress before. There's so many ways to attack this place. There is. You can go straight to A point through the broken wall. Easy. Go through either of the doors. Front door, the eastern door. Go for the supply point on the ground. The supply point on the east side on the ground is open for the attackers. So when you're inside on the ground, you have basic dominance. You control every single one of those stairs, and the enemy can't come down because if they come down, you fight them. And it's much more difficult for the defenders coming down than it is for you going. I mean, it's much more difficult for the defenders to come down, and it's the same difficulty for you to go up. So just stay where you are on the ground, gain dominance there. If you want to make a move, fight where they're weak. So you want to look for this. You want to look for the set of stairs that they're weak. When you're inside, there is 3 ways, or no, 4 ways to get up onto the wall. One straight to A, two straight to A, and then actually no, there's 3 ways to get to the supply point. Anyway, there's a lot of avenues in Linwu Fortress that Nope could have taken advantage of, but they just didn't. Going through that one direction, absolutely getting massacred, and it's just halberdiers after halberdiers. So you need something that can block damage and deal damage. So you want more shield maidens in that scenario. And I mean, stalwarts and Murmilonas were banned. So the unfortunate thing here is ING definitely set themselves up for a polearm heavy army. You can't go any cavalry that will just get killed by halberdiers, which is basically everything except Wintersaar. Wintersaar is still your good choice, but I would be wary. I have been underestimating the strength of halberdiers as well, because there's a lot of times where you can just set up a bunch of halberdiers and Wintersaar charges at it, but just a couple of halberdiers just need to stand long enough to hit Wintersaars. Nah, Wintersaar safe pick for Nope. So Windstar's still available. I do think that ING is going to abuse halberdiers, so you got to figure out how to deal with halberdiers, and definitely going to have to figure out what you want to do for your setup, because Varangian guards, no go. Scilladar's great brawler unit. Great if you're fighting against other high level tier 5s, but again, Shield Maidens will still slash you to pieces in a dense scenario. You want open spaces. Heilong Fjord is a dense, it's a straightforward map. There is so many sections where just density is way more beneficial. And again, if you're lacking, take a page from the enemy. Go halberdiers. Halberdiers, halberdiers, halberdiers. I will grant this, though. Think about alternatives. Think about range. Good range protected by halberdiers. So, even if you can't win against the halberdiers straight on, bring range. Bring range. Protect them with the halberdiers. Pushing into your halberdiers will be so much more difficult because pushing into any brace formation is very difficult. So have halberdiers have range. Perfect setup. So, no, if you're listening, good old Shenji! Indeed, Aizen. Excellent. Shenji bomb will decimate that formation. You combine a Shenji bomb with a Winged Hussar, followed by Liao's to clean up. Oh man, that's going to be amazing. But whether or not you actually do that, whether or not you can do that on the fly, we're going to have to wait for you to see that. You are the defenders in the next battle on Heilong Fjord. ING has practice, probably loves Heilong Fjord, second to Harbour City again. So you're going to have to definitely be careful. You're going to have to be proactive at the very least. And again, when you strike, you must be sure that you are striking the enemy weak point. Because if you're striking the enemy strong point, that is a tough fight. So I give my advice to you. As defenders, delay the front as much as possible. Strike the enemy weak points. Probably everyone probably should know that. When you're the attackers, you want to pressure the main defense force and you want to gain control of the area. So that is a bit different because sometimes you actually have to fight the main defense force. And again, that's the difference for attackers. There's never a situation where, for attackers that is, that you can just avoid the defenders, because unless the defenders are completely avoiding you, you will eventually have to run into the defenders. So you must take a hard fight. Eventually. So, play smart. Play smart. Well, we already had the first battle. Q Lima. We already had the first battle. You missed it. I mean, Nope didn't really get past the first. Didn't even capture a point on Linway Fortress, so there's that. And honestly, I don't know. Normally, the intermission is very short. What could be bad is that Nope is actually buying for time. It could be that Nope actually doesn't have enough members. Maybe. right now they're talking about how the teams have different play styles. I mean, like, there's probably only a certain number of variations. Berserkers, they just went over how Berserkers back in um, season of Valhalla, which was season 6, I believe, the Chinese team would use Berserkers to beat up our team. And it's true. On Border Fort, one of the most surprising strategies was just to throw up Berserkers onto that wall. You can't kill it, by the way. Back then, like, it was very difficult to kill. The only thing that could, like, deal enough damage to Berserkers were other Berserkers. I mean, like, you could get away with some certain pike units, but again, Berserkers were very difficult to take down back then. And so, they throw up maybe 2 or 3 Berserkers, run straight through the enemy defense. That bridge is probably halfway down. Get it right across with those 24 Berserkers, just chewing up infantry, just one at a time. And it's just 15 heroes, 3 Berserkers, wails really fucking hard on the enemy defending force. And that was what Valhalla that was one of the strategies. I mean, again, you still have to get the sea, get the base point. So we got Winged Stars, we got Winged Stars and Liao. So again, good combination, a very strong combination if you do it right. About 50%. Not 50% actually. There's only about 4 Winged Stars. Probably about 4 Winged Stars, 6. 4 Winged Stars, 6 Liaos. Um, the heavy shield units, I'm not I'm not a fan of, mainly because they're not going to achieve very much for you as the defenders unless you actually plan on just letting them tank. 2 Shenji, you're not bringing them out straight away though. I would definitely bring them out straight away. Like, this is the thing. When are you going to use your range? You got plenty of heavy shields, so heavy shields with the range, excellent. Put a halberdier in it, you're protected from cavalry. Formation is everything. Two. The attacking force, which is, whoa, surprisingly going to give up the A and the B point. Did not see this coming. Is it just going straight for the base point again? Again with straight to the base point defense. You're giving up a lot of free pressure. Like in this scenario, there's 5 heroes up on the wall. If you just had like one guy with shield baited, you would get 5 kills. ING realizes straight. Whoa! Okay, sacrifice a low tier unit. Not bad. It delays for time. I'll be right back. Yep, half an hour ago. I mean, I get it that the base point is like really defendable, Like one of the bit like easier places to defend on High Longfield. But still, I'm a bit upset. This is the let the enemy take everything except the last point. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've just seen defenses on A and the B point. I've seen defenses on the C point. The base point, it's defendable, but you have to deal with 15 trips. In truth, the base point is actually pretty easy to defend, but you have to deal with a lot of things from the enemy. The A and the B point is a little restrictive with the trips, so this is where you're going to have to play really well, get really efficient. You gotta get all of their enemy artillery. You gotta get you have to destroy all of these enemy artillery. There's 7 mortars down right now, and they're probably gonna blow everything on this point up. There's still 15 trips available as well. So much resources into this base point, and again, the base point is fully open. Nope. Strategist probably needs to demotion. Yeah. The thing here, if I was going to defend the base point, I would actually sacrifice all of my artillery to destroy the trips. Because one of the most powerful tools that ING has attacking is trips. Once the trips are gone, they have to split their focus between using the mortars and attacking. If they're using the mortars, you can evade. If they're attacking, you can beat them because there's 3 funnels, well, 4 funnels here, but no one really takes the back funnel there. Did they destroy the trips? Nah. 2 trips? 3 trips? The trips is still there. There's still a significant amount of trips. So, again, Nope is really banking on ING just to be really silly. But they're not. They're doing it slow. They're pressuring Nope by having some troops present and then mortaring them just a little bit. And as you can see, they're getting hit. They're also ING is also getting hit, but they don't need to attack. Nope has to be omnipresent here on this point because if they lose ground, it's very hard to get it back. Very hard to get it back. Well, yeah. The house strat is okay, but the problem is that you'll get pressured straight onto the base point because like you're down there in thing, they come up straight through that stairs or they come out through the other alternative way. So the good thing here is that Nope is actually doing really well. Like, don't get me wrong. A big battle has not happened just yet, but in terms of what has occurred, Nope is actually doing very well for themselves. They've barely gotten trebbed. They've basically taken out a lot of the enemy artillery. Well, I mean, again, like, not taken out, but they've survived the mortaring. There's more trebs coming in. There's going to be more mortars coming through. You're going to have to be super careful not to lose a lot. And they're still here on this point, and that's the most important thing, because once ING pushes up, especially in this scenario, they are pushing up between just 2 areas. This is a very good section for the defenders to just hold. So we've got some Shenji grenades coming through. Coming up through that bottom section. Whoa! Fight on the stairs is not looking good. Fight on this section is not looking good either. Gonna pull back, let them come down, squish that stairs, I would say. Doing okay. They're suppressing the stairs. There's another treb. I would back off. I would back off and not pressure that stairs. They do get hit. Cavalry comes through. Gets completely stopped though. Oh, Winged Hussars coming through. Nope is pressuring the enemy, but they are losing more troops out there on the front than ING. ING has gotten dominance now, and most of the shield unit that was there is just getting cleaned up by cavalry. The beginning of the fight, really good. Took a heavy treb, though, and the collapse of the front line was inevitable. Cavalry coming through. The cavalry was stopped, but not killed. And that's one of the most important things. Cavalry can be stopped, but if you don't kill them, they're running around. On to the point is a halberdier unit. That is a very deadly position to be in. This is a very powerful position for ING. ING pulls away, trying to dodge the Shenji grenade. Shenjis will get cleaned up by the tertials and easily flip on the reinforcements. Here comes the cavalry, and Nope is not able to respawn in time. They are here on top of this point. They don't have very much staying power, but they will massacre your units as you're coming out. Really need to take out that cavalry and need to stop. Whoa! Winged Hussars got blocked? I was very upset. I thought the Winged Hussars would get further through. It's a bit of a messy fight. Imperial Pike March walks down. Liao's coming out in droves. Either side have a lot of Liaos right now. And that range pile. Why is no one going for that range pile? That's like the first thing I would take. That's the first thing I would take out. Shove some infantry up there. Get in there. You got a lot of Imperial Pikes. That's an impressive amount of Imperial Pikes, but I would be sending them back. Get the shields up in the front. Take out that range pile. I don't know where you're going, but another Winged Hussar coming out from ING. Just a massive attrition for Nope. Nope is throwing away units right now, and they managed to get the range pile, but it's just look how many halberdiers are going to come out, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to come back again because let's be honest, I mean, they can't throw more cavalry at this, can they? They've already used all their Winged Hussars. Do you have a Winged Hussar left? There's grape shots coming out like crazy out as well. So heroes are going to get blasted. Oh man, Imperial Pike caught them, but that dense pile of halberdiers much more effective than I thought it would be. So many halberdiers, man. Like, I'm kind of surprised how many halberdiers are out on the field right now. These are regular tier 3 halberdiers, by the way. And they are holding very well. They're trying to force their way through, trying to get to that point, but just complete dominance. I mean, again, sometimes the strategy just backfires. The Nope probably had a plan. It's just ING just kind of played them like a fiddle. Like it was working. It's just overextending and not prioritizing securing the flanks and too much focus on responding to what the enemy is doing instead of controlling the base point. One of the things that is probably unfortunate here for Nope is the Trebs. Honestly, the Trebs. No one was watching out for the Trebs. They walked into the Trebs every single time, and they got hit hard. They got hit real hard. It was a quick battle. And ING just, again, very straightforward assault. Sieged out the enemy super easily. It can be in the right setup. It A and the B point is probably the one that is hardest to take with a more aggressive defending force. C is a little bit open, so again, have to be pretty aggressive. The Trebs is pretty prevalent. You can't really stay around. The base point, the only reason why it's easy to defend is that as the attackers come up, they don't know what they're running into. The C and the A and the B point, they know what they're running into. But on the C and the base point, it is far more open. Far more open. So they can get those clean trebs. They can and once they get area on top of that area, once they get space, like once they're up onto the base point, once they get that security, they have dominance. I understand that, Obi-Wan Kenobi. The house can't get tripped. Here's the kicker, though. You defend that supply point, but they go straight to the base point. So you have to move away from that area anyway. The the attackers don't have to attack that supply point. I keep saying this, and I don't know why so many people do this, but they attack that supply point when the defenders are sitting behind that house. You don't have to go there. Yes, you have time to react. There has been cases where, like, we have seen that strategy. Hide behind the house, defend the base point with a little bit, defend the supply point. There's been cases where they just went to the base point, everyone retreated back to the base point, and it was an even Steven. They got that supply point, and you're moved back onto the base point. And the base point, again, in that scenario, very much harder to defend because you're you're not just expecting a lot of mortars, you're expecting trips. Because that house that was protecting you from trips are no longer protecting you from trips. A and the B point, easiest, I would say, easily is a better and more stable defense strategy. I've seen strategy to defend the C point, much harder to pull off there because of the variables you have to watch out for depending on what part of C you're defending. The base point is, here's the thing. If you go to the base point and the enemy just has all the time in the world, a smart enemy doesn't need to go straight in. And when they scout you out, when they use mortar, when they use their trebs, you're going to be down ever so a little bit more every time you take a hit. And that's what a siege is like. They're trying to attrition your units down. So you want to be in areas, obviously, where you don't get hit. But when you're at that final base point, there is no more space to retreat. So you want to limit their usage of siege weapons, their usage of trebs. I would have taken out the trebs. I would have taken a more aggressive stance of mortaring. I would have mortars out on that skirt, taken out, aiming for those mortars that they're going to place. Because the longer they have to take in order to place those mortars, the more time you gain. And not very many teams, again, especially on the defending sides, can pull off that kind of pressure from the defending sides with a single mortar. Like, you have to be fairly accurate, very difficult. You got to get those angles just right. And I've seen sometimes where one mortar takes out another mortar. Great. Unfortunately, the attackers have another one, and it's a big hurdle to get over. To be a defender, you need to be in position. You need to know where the enemy wants to set up. So, a good strategy for the defense point is knowing what the enemy will use. Because if you know what the enemy will use, you can hold them at the defense point. For the A point, you can limit the entry for the enemy a lot more. And also, they have limited tools, so you don't need to worry about those. It's just a straight fight for the A and the B point. So, less attritioning, straight fight. I think Nope realized that they can't take a straight fight, and so that they need the place with the biggest advantage. And I think that's the base point. But It's literally a 10-second route and multi-cab angle, and not as triple. Yeah, but it's true. I mean, you can have cavalry come in like two ways. Only one way for the attackers, two ways for the defenders. Defending A and the B point, it just seems so much logical because you have more, how to say, it's more predictable because you don't have to worry about trebs, you don't have to worry about mortars and stuff because you can see them come in. And when the enemy sets up like that, there's obviously certain angles you can avoid. There's fences, there's that watchtower behind the island thing. I think a lot of times there have been a lot of matches on Heilong Fjord where if the A and the B point gets captured, that's it. For the longest time, I would say, the A and the B point has, and obviously would have been the focus. There's a lot of teams, I think, defend the A and the B point, and they can't defend the C or the base point. And that just has to do with just how the strategy works, because defending the A and the B point relies on the fact that you defend the A and the B point, because if you drop either of A or B, falling back to C is not a really a good option. You have to kind of fight the enemy at A and the B point to keep them out and make sure that they don't get a foothold. There's a lot of times where the A point is all about rushing, and in this case, if the attackers defeat your infantry, and then the attackers have to come in with cavalry, but then their cavalry comes in and kills your cavalry, you could end up in a downward spiral, basically. I think I think what's happening here is that teams are trying to prevent predictability like that. There's a lot of there's there's more predictability in an A and a B point hold than it is for a C hold or a base hold, because it's just things that people don't normally do. And I mean, I would have to say that, oh Christ, I missed it. Damn it. I'm so sorry, guys. I was just chatting this entire time and I missed it. So TL versus OISU. We got a ban on Linwy Fortress, ban on Kurak Castle, a double pick for Heilong Fjord. We got a ban on Sapphirarioids, a ban on Shield Maidens, ban on Bardabashi Pikemen, a safe pick on Halberdier Sergeants, ban on Zykiel Militia, ban on Martellators, a safe pick on Myrmilones, and a ban on Shenjis. And yeah, that's very classic. I mean, like if you lose the like if you don't commit everything to the A and the B point, the attackers have some kind of like buff. Like there is just like seemingly no way to stop the attackers once the A or the B point has lost, or you lose ground, and you start losing ground like crazy after a massive defense for the defending team. And it's normally just to do with how attrition works, because both sides are putting all of their resources into this one point, and when it comes down to the wire, the attackers once they get that foothold, they just steamroll the enemy, and that's because the defenders are normally super desperate in holding that A point. There are some cases where the best point for the defenders is not to put everything into pushing out the attackers straight away. Sometimes it's better to isolate the attackers and close in on them. But yeah, I mean, yeah, tradings is very important. Like one of I think one of the earlier things that I noticed was there were times where the first primary attack would happen and people would continue to push forward, and I was like, you can preserve those units. Like, the defenders have already falled back. You don't need to use those units you're currently holding that are wounded, that are half strength, to attack to attack again. So there are a lot of times where I question the teams. It's just like Why don't you go for attrition? You just beat the enemy. Why use your wounded troops to attack a fresh enemy when you should get a fresh unit as well? And there's a lot of time where resets are required. Very dependent, yeah. Alright, I'll be right back in 5 minutes. I'm going to try to finish up this before the next battle. I'll see you guys in a bit. Alrighty. Awesome. Brad is just saying that they are almost ready to rumble. That means I came back right in time. Speed eating. So TL versus OISU. I mean, I like OISU, but they got absolutely blasted by BJPT or BPJT or something. So we have interesting. There's a banner card coming out from OISU. I'm wondering what that archer unit is. I can identify most archers, but I don't think that's incendiary. So it's a longbow and something else. They chose two of that something else. They got some ranged units, but archers, that's an interesting pick. TL setup doesn't look very strong. Neither side looks particularly strong in terms of like tier 5 and stuff. A lot of tier 4s. Using those halberdiers like crazy. Both sides love the halberdiers, of course. I think I would as well. One of the units that would probably um, be much stronger than they should be, or at the very least, they're one of the few units that hit above weight right now. So they've got a good stock performance and definitely terrifying to fight against. Lots of grape shots for either side. So this is a Heilong Fjord attack. Lots of heavy armor. I keep getting told this, but OISU has a lot of heavy armor, and I do give credit to the thinking that normally when you have more medium armor classes, it normally tells you that the team is more comfortable with killing heroes from the enemy. So I think it's going to be telling that if in this case, because there's archer units out for the field for TL, the longer they take to push, so if they're just going straight onto this A point right now, that could be an amazing trip. The cavalry just going straight past, going for that range thing. No one protecting that bridge. Very, very bad. And the grape shots are actually just too far. Nice setup there here. OISU definitely like this grape shot here, probably a bit too far. But no, close enough to get hit. But OISU is put themselves in a position where the units on the wall are actually useless right now. Oh wow! Coming in from the side there, it's just the Winged Stars actually did an impressive job, but they caught a Medal kind of in mid charge there, doing well for themselves. They're pushing right on through, and the grape shots are not particularly effective. They just need a day off of those two. It covers about half the point. The grape shots are doing well. Lots of grape shots from either side, I would say. Longsword actually disrupts the respawn. That's a nice play. So OISU manages to clean it up. That small delay from the longsword probably going around trying to hit the range. I'm surprised that the longbow survived. I was so sure that the Northernlands cavalry that went for them would have got them. Two mortars set up. That was a very fast breakthrough, and OISU definitely took. It wasn't really much of a blitzkrieg. They got in. I mean, like, okay, let's just I'd love to call it a blitzkrieg as well, but they didn't actually just murder the enemy. What they did was they got in, set up in a very unusual fashion, and that's sitting classically in a spot where the defenders should be, but it's just in front of the bridge here, in where the A point is, at the far side of the A point, in fact. So the grape shots here on top of the wall here was fairly ineffective, basically nothing. Was my second pick. I mean, like, BPJT is now my second pick. But I mean, like, I still love OISU because that was very smooth. Like, the defenders didn't know how to react. Then when they reacted, they had to force the enemy out. And what could you do in that situation? Because you're on the losing end now. The attackers have gone in, set up, and it's just like you're now the attackers. That was a very smooth setup, and I mean, I'm just baffled of what to say for that because the trade was barely fairly in their favor. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they're probably five maybe seven units up right now for OISU. But we know how a lot of things can change, of course. Still a lot of resources for the attackers, and we see a treb come through. Not sure what it was hitting. Don't think it hit very many. I don't even think it hit much. Getting shot with longbows is not really much of a threat. Again, if you're a little bit, if you were a halberdier unit, probably, but halberdier sergeants, medals, they don't really should have very much fear against the longbow units, especially if they're veteran top line where it's 40% extra damage against ranged units. But if they veteran the proper way, which is the Slayer kind, which is the bottom one, and I say it the proper way because you're not aiming to take out ranged units. You're aiming to take out regular units. So you want to vet in the most effective style possible. That trap is not going to come through. Again, right next to... Whoa! But that mortar will. Oh, one treb came through. Nice. Scared them off at the very least. Taking taking the easy route here, hiding behind the houses and moving away. And Oisu moves right in. Just a little bit of pressure made them crack. It's very... This is the case where it's just like... Oisu didn't want to take a fight on that intersection while their units were there. Even with the massive hit, Oisu didn't take that fight. They waited for them to retreat. And this is really important because if they forced TL to fight there, they could have lost. Or they could have taken heavy casualties at the very least. And that's not good for them. But now, in this case, they've taken the C point for free. Quote unquote free. Oh, wait, no, I can't see it getting captured. It was getting captured. Now this is the dumb thing. If Oisu does go for the supply point, I think that's really stupid. I would just go all the way to the left side. I would just go all the way to I would just go all the way to the left side and set up that way. As long as they don't have 15 cavalry, I don't think Oisu will do good. What? Neither sides have a lot of cavalry. One thing is for sure is Oisu and TL both using their mortars positioning to great effect. This is probably the most I've seen like mortars actually successfully hit stuff that are moving. Like Both sides are constantly pressuring each other with mortars, and it's quite amazing to see because the mortars are dictating where the fight's going to be, and TL definitely doesn't want to budge from this house. They don't want to leave, but every time they get hit with a mortar, they're getting a little bit more scared. They're getting a little bit more angsty, as it's just becoming a bad day. Oh man, some more units starting to push off. They have a nice spread though, so I do think TL is going to get blasted through because they've kind of pushed off just enough for Oisu to take the fight. Oisu does go in a bit slower than I thought they would. Coming up against a hard corner here. Right now, funneling units into each other, halberdiers against halberdiers. And here comes the cavalry. Oh my goodness, cavalry coming off of the base point. This could be a push towards the base point as well. So TL does look to want to push Oisu right off of that supply point. Hard fight down there, but it's an easy fight up here. The base point is going to be getting captured fairly shortly. There is 4 units up here, so definitely the guys down there holding is going to be very important to see. Kill hero after hero. Get that halberdier on the point. I would start running those men at arms towards whatever that's shooting you, and I'm pretty sure those are prefecture archers. Yep, go, go, go! Kill the prefecture archers. Surprisingly enough, Oisu didn't lose. Look, I understand that, like, they were, like, 4 guys down, but Oisu actually won that fight, so it's very clear that the setup for the on the downturn, on the supply point, they were able to get enough advantage where they were 4 members down. 4 guys went up to the base point, took out a cylinder, and not only did Oisu manage to put enough pressure on that supply point, the base point started getting captured. They couldn't and they were able to force TL to take an L, massive L here. I think that was that's an amazing pickup to force them away from this supply point. And like, for what it cost, it's impressive that they didn't get pushed out. Because I was of the believer that Oisu was going to get pushed out because they were down 4 people. They were down 4 players because they went to the base point. Oisu not using its remaining artillery. There's 11 artillery, by the way. Or maybe they're going to go for grape shots. Could be grape shots galore here. A lot of serfs coming out from TL. Does that mean TL's out of units? I thought they would have a couple of more, couple of strong units left. At the very least, I would believe that there would be more high tier units. But both sides are actually pretty low, so they are using serfs. Oisu has a little bit more. Just a little bit more. And that could be the pickup from the beginning. Showing itself now. And when you're doing a hold like this, it's very great if the enemy just runs straight into your pike line. But Oisu pushes a little bit, breaks down that formation, and just look at the cavalry go! Oh my goodness. The defensive formation from TL just collapses instantly as that cavalry comes in. Contact to contact with infantry means that it had no capacity to deal with that cavalry coming up from the rear. And holy Dagger Lancers, and Cataphracts, and Chevaliers, and is that a regular human? Oh man. Excellently well done. The beginning was really cool. I think Oisu, again, is like one of my favorite teams to watch because how they win is it's really fascinating. It's so fascinating to watch. The A point, setting up on the far side of A, controlling that bridge side, making sure that their rear was protected. They were so far away from the wall that the grape shots had barely any effect. the defending side didn't know what to do because they didn't go down and face them. They they went to the side, so they had to attack. So I mean, like the defenders decided to attack them, and that ended up in tragedy at the C point. Fascinatingly enough, a Treb and a couple of mortar hits pushed off the Halberdier section. Very, very easy. And then the supply base, like again, it's a 50. It's a 2 point. It's a fork. You're going to attack the base. You're going to attack the supply point. No one's there at the base except one Silidar. You sent 4 guys to deal with him. 3 maybe 3. Um, it was a halberdier. It was a halberdier, stalwart, and a men at arms. Men at arms, man. Like my goodness, what unit are we bringing? And they're down 3 units to 1 on that supply point. Do remember that supply point is a 14 v 12 at the very least. You're down 2 whole units. So not only did Oisu win on the supply point, they won on the base point. So that fork was super successful. So not only did they get the supply point, they also got pressure on the base point. And of course, enemy respawns, comes down, captures back the base point. But you've already done your job. You've gotten that supply point, and now you're poised in for a frontal assault. And when they're going in for that final assault, a little bit poking out just a little bit, and the defenders go in. Big mistake. Big mistake. The defenders try to counterattack with their infantry, kind of hold the line scenario. Bad mistake. The Daggerack Lancers started to come through, and all of your units were locked up at the front, and they just crushed that front line so fast that I barely even blinked. I don't even think I could blink in a scenario like that, and it was just massacre at that base point. I thought Oisu was being a little bit overzealous, or like doing no prep work. So normally a little bit of mortaring, a little bit of trebbing, but they just went straight in, and they just crushed it. Excellently well done for that attack. It just shows that both teams in particular really, really good movement, good positioning from both sides, and I mean that sincerely because TL, although you lost, you didn't do anything that would be considered like, oh, big mistake. Oisu fought you head on. Like you responded to Oisu's attack, and it's just like, what could you do? You took very classic positions, very stable areas to defend, and when it comes down to it, maybe you're just the weaker team, and that's the good thing. It's not that you were bad; it's just that you were the weaker team, and Oisu just stronger because they had a better strategy, and they just defeated your defense. So congratulations both sides. I also like that was an amazing match to watch because I do think that TL, your pressure with the mortars, excellent. Trying to do your best with what you have. Oisu, again, your strategy, very strong and also so much more decisive. Moment you saw those halberdiers push off, you went straight, collected up C, didn't see anything else there. Very fast, very decisive, and I kind of love that. I kind of love that now because when I think one time when I was watching you, which was just very agonizing watching you just be slow, be too cautious. You see nothing, you move, you get that area, you take that area. There is nothing stopping you there. You're afraid of taking a fight. You shouldn't be because you want to take a fight, and because you have 15 guys backing you up. I mean, you have 14 guys backing you up. That's what a team should be like. Nevertheless, I do hope the next battle is going to be as enjoyable because this time we're going to get TL attacking against Oisu, and I think Oisu is going to have some very fascinating defense plans because last time that I watched them defend, that was very brutal. Whew. Oh man. Alrighty. Second battle between TL and Oisu. TL's gonna have to win this one. Otherwise, they're gonna be out of the tournament. Again, this is the losers bracket, so Oisu, although you're in the losers bracket, you're definitely still showing the kind of the things that I love about you. It could just be that the top two teams from the Asia division just absolutely body everyone else. I mean, CNC, clearly they're just going to body everyone. BPJT, again, a little bit unexpected, but again, they were pretty high on my. I mean, like they were in my top three for my picks. But nevertheless, I wish both of you luck. Lots of Dagger Lantern is going to come out from Oisu, and I think it's going to be very terrifying for TL to deal with. I think this is going to be one of the moments where TL has to really come through with their anti-cavalry. Otherwise, they're going to be in the drink. That being said, I mean, like, TL has a lot of killer, like, they got a lot of medium armor classes. It does look like they want to be more confident in the hero killing department. Lots of poleaxes. I mean, Oisu loves them poleaxes. Really great lockdown, and I'm pretty sure it's a really great unit fighter as well. Kind of going with the split push here. We've got around about 5 guys, 6 guys here on the B side, and probably the 9 on the A side. Starting off pretty standard, breaking down the wall, probably break down the broken wall. I mean, breaks the wall down as well, or not. Focusing on that front gate, getting pushing on the battering ram on the A side, but breaking it down with the heroes on the B side. 2 pikes, 2 spears. Not really the classes that are really good at dealing damage to those, even if they are pretty weak. Doors takes a while. Normally, you want to do your blunt one. So when you're playing the spear, you want to reset your first attack because your first attack is actually a blunt attack. Funnily enough. I think the first one's a blunt attack, the next 2 are slashing, and then the final one's a piercing. For the pike one, you actually want to hold down the right click and then do your how to say block attack. I don't know. They have a special guard attack, which is a blunt attack. Otherwise, you just use your skyward dragon thing or sky dragon. Don't know what it's called anymore. So a bit slow on the attack right now. TL is getting pressured outside just a little bit. Although I do now realize that there is all of the artillery, like 8 artilleries have already been deployed, so they are ready for something. This wall break here has a lot of stalwarts stacked up against it. Could see a wall break push, but I don't think Oisu has enough to actually stop them if they do come through. A little bit of mortar. A little bit of mortar. They go towards the front gate. They don't take the wall. Or is it a switcheroo? The indecisiveness here coming out from TL means that they're wasting more and more time. Maybe trying to get that angle, trying to get that benefit. Stalwart just walks straight on through, looking at those halberdiers, looking for a fight. Halberdiers push off. The Medaus there have not moved. Imperial Pike walking down in contact with the Medaus. Medaus trying to escape, but getting caught here. The sideways charge. Whoa! Just barely facing in proper front. That treb is not going to hit anything. Oisu is getting ran over by so much cavalry. There are 5 cavalry out from the field right now, coming out from TL. Wing de Sa's really late, winning the infantry battle. Nice Wing de Sa charge, but catches only the tail. Right now, the cavalry is running rampant towards the B section. Might get that supply point. If they get that supply point, massive pressure comes out from TL as they could clean up little by little the remaining forces here. Another charge by... Whoa! Oh my goodness! That is... Why did you turn off? That was an amazing mammalian charge into a banner guard reset into another mammalian charge, wiping out 2 stalwarts in one go. That was I mean, like, it was pretty static setup, but I wanted to watch the whole of that because that was super amazing. All of the cavalry went to the B side right now, so there's a lot of pressure on the B side. There's not enough pressure here on the A side. It's kind of like a split attack here. Wing de Sars comes through on an angle. Unfortunately, gets caught by half of the halberdier that didn't get hit. Now, prefectures are really great, and I love my banner guards, but my banner guards reset is still on a cooldown as the trickle comes through. Cataprax gets caught massively, although the Cataprax almost makes it. Oh my goodness, they're touching those prefectures. Almost could have been a bad day. Right now, Oisu has cleaned off the B point, probably the remaining cavalry, because you see a lot of cavalry dead towards that B section right now. It's going to be a fight here. Breaks right through that halberdier, but then clears it completely off. Oh my goodness. I love the halberdier, the cavalry charge, although it's very devastating. Against halberdiers, they don't kill the halberdiers, they knock them down. So you need a follow-up. Definitely need a very strong follow-up. Daggerack Lancers cannot go in by themselves. Against halberdiers alone will just get squashed. Missing the major pile here. Looking at like a rock in a tsunami. Whoa! Holy cow. More cavalry just running right through, but that tiny rock is barely holding on. So much cavalry coming out from Oisu, trying to push them out, forcing themselves onto the Medaus right now. Using the Liaos could do a lot of damage, but the Medaus are still standing strong. Oh my goodness. Damn that reset. We also have the Mammalians there inside of that unit. Probably went for a massive charge. Probably does not deal enough damage right now. Locking way too much damage from those Medaus that are just fighting on and on and on. Pressure on the B point again. They want to put pressure on both sides. And here comes the third and final attack probably from TL. TL is got the banner guard as well. Could see multiple charges coming out, but I don't see very many units with charges. It's hard to say whether or not they improved or what they're fighting against is just or what they're fighting against is of equal or similar. But here comes the attack. The front line has broken down for. Whoa, here comes some Daggerag Lancers getting charged into, or the Halberdier is just walking into them. But look at the dead bodies. Oh my goodness. Another charge coming through. The Silidars, they're barely hanging on as they get ripped apart by those Halberdiers. Sacrifice of those cavalry was worth it. Again, coming in a very tight formation, hitting so much infantry. Daggerag Lancers comes in from behind, but it is too late. Too little too late for them to make a difference. 15 seconds left to go. Barely any cap point left for the A point. And both sides, oh my goodness. Look at that. Look at that. Losses on both sides. Barely hanging on by a thread for Oisu, but out of units for TL. Both sides running all of their units in. And it's just very fascinating how everything ended up. The cavalry charge clears right through the main street, goes towards the B point. We didn't get to see very much of the battle at the B point, but I would assume that Oisu was able to stabilize. Oisu, I was just very surprised at like the aggressiveness from both sides. Oisu as well, not panicking and taking out whatever enemies were inside. And it's just a slugfest. I have to agree with you. It was just an amazing slugfest because it was a bit of back and forth. It was a bit of all around the place, and it was just chaos. But when they're both building like that whole, you could feel the you could feel both sides building up for that kind of counter. The cavalry coming in one after the other, then just a whole bunch of them coming in together, and then like for the final attack, you're just watching them slowly come up, and then just slam right into the front line, collapses the front line of Oisu, but Oisu comes in with a counter attack, barely holding on with their secondary line, and that's a good thing because Oisu going out with secondary lines sacrifices that Zerf unit at the front to delay or disrupt, and then you had kind of Halberdiers there on the flanks and a very strong Mammalians, of course, but it was super cool watching all of that, and I do love watching that Mammalian charge. We got to saw the charge into the slam, charge into the secondary charge, and we got to see the banner reset, but we didn't get to see the second charge. I really wanted to see that second charge because it's just, man, a banner guard reset. A banner guard reset with Mammalians sounds crazy. Sounds amazing as well. And too bad we didn't get to see that because it was great action. Because wiping off two stalwarts with one Mammalian double charging, thumbs up, way up. Good efficiency. Unfortunately, the banner reset was probably still 20 seconds off before you could do it again. Nevertheless, I mean, today, I think Oisu's battles have always just been super good to watch, and they're fun to watch. Definitely fun to watch. And when you have teams of equal or similar skill level, and this is where I'm going to say that TL is actually a good team, because it's not like a bad team can put this much pressure on Oisu. TL actually put pressure on Oisu so that they can shine, and that is where when you have two rough, well, when you grind two surfaces against each other, they polish and smooth each other, um, making each more perfect or smoother. I don't know how to explain that analogy. I kind of lost it there, but I just this is why CBL is so great. This is why CB is a great game, because you get those moments where you're watching both sides. It's down to the wire. You're watching the battle rage on in a complete slugfest. A little here, a little there. Both sides trying to win, and that is the thing. When both sides feels like they can win, you're not only you're not only rooting for your favorite team, you're rooting for both sides to slug it out and determine the victor through effort and like it's just super engaging. This battle was, and I do love watching these kinds of battles. These are the battles that are the highlight of CBL in particular. But I think that's all for today. Probably closing it up as well. So yeah, wonder if they do any extra announcements. Well, they're wrapping it up. I'll wrap it up as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed that commentary. Again, I do love watching Oisu, and again, as Obi-Wan Kenobi has pointed out, they were my second. I like them because I put them second because not because I thought they were a strong team, um, but again, got proven wrong. But they're definitely a fun team to watch. Less fun to watch than CNC. CNC really needs a challenger. Unfortunately, no one's really can challenge them, so they're in a rut right now. There is barely any improvement coming out from CNC. So whenever they do a strategy, it just seems like it just works because they're CNC. BPJT, again, kind of similar to how CNC working out. They're just a really strong team that just seem to work. Whatever they do just seems to work out. So maybe that's why I rated them a little bit lower than Oisu, who has had difficulties, or at least shown to put in the hard yard, and that's really difficult to pull off. It's really difficult to pull off. To be a team like CNC, to be a team where it just looks like minimal effort. When you have minimal effort, it feels like everything's a breeze. So everything's just too easy for them. And so you always underestimate them because you can't gauge their strength because nothing can challenge them enough. And it's just so amazing watching Oisu just show off all of this amazing positioning, amazing decisions that each of their players are making, and the grand scheme of things their team is making just work out. But nevertheless, I mean, closing it up, hope you guys enjoyed the stream. And other than that, my name's Azukai. Have a nice day. I'll see you tomorrow for the next set of matches. So, see you then. Bye for now. Where is the drops? Want me to send you over to drops? There'll be other channels. So, sorry.